Another part of property management that we want to talk today is work orders. Obviously, we are in the course of time when we own rental properties, we are going to meet maintenance requests. So can you explain regarding maintenance, what are in general like the guidelines in terms of expenses that are being done and then the investor is notified after they were treated, and what are like other events or amounts that it would work separately with the owner approval required within the work order process?
Okay. So the tenants are able to log into their portal and place a maintenance request, or they call us at the office and let us know. Usually if it's more urgent, they will call us directly to get a hold of someone to hopefully assign a contractor almost immediately if they are available. So when that happens, we have a $250 minimum that we are allowed to utilize per property per month. So if we can, fix that problem under that amount, we're going to go ahead and do so, and the bill will come thereafter with before and after photos so that you guys know what it is that you're paying for and a description of what the contractor has done. If it goes above that $250 limit, we are then asked to send pictures and an invoice to each of the investors that may have an estimate coming so that you guys can see what it is that you're looking at, what needs to be repaired, and how much, along with a description of that as well, for approval, because we are not allowed to go over the $250 mark.
So if we try to get some observation from this, and this is important. First of all, you mentioned, and I think that is the most common trigger, like why do we get a maintenance process trigger, is a tenant request, which is obvious, and sometimes it can be other triggers, like we get city yearly or frequent. Depends on the frequency upon tenant replacement or per 1 year. Usually it would be from a tenant request, or it would be from the city. I think another thing you should be aware, a good property management will also be proactive from here and there, going into your property and checking what is needed. And also there might be some kind of proactive maintenance optional for you to consider. For example, in winter we might see an email from property management saying, okay, if you would like to do a proactive maintenance for your HVAC or for the gutters, etc. So that might be another trigger, which is usually optional but recommended.
Yes.
Good. Okay, so we talked about what triggers maintenance process, and let's go along with the process to really help the investor understand why are we what might be different scenarios that it plays. So we mentioned that there is like one scenario that these are like tenant requests, for example, lower than $250. So it will be taken care of, and then the owner can see it through his monthly report, right?
Correct. Not all work order requests are. We obviously do our job to try to make sure if it's anything that the tenant can handle on their own, we ask those questions. Does the thermostat need batteries? Has your filter been changed? There's a certain type of Drano that can be used to help unclog that pipe before we send out a plumber, who may cost the owner some money. So there's a lot of different things that we do to hopefully fix the issue without having to send anybody out.
Right.
But ultimately it's, and I can even talk on the city inspections if you would like. I did that for a few years. It's no longer my job now, but
we'll talk about it.
Yeah, so, that's kind of what we try to do without sending anybody out.
So the first thing is trying really to see if we can resolve it with the tenant. Hey, did you try this or that?
Right.
What about issues that are like tenant damage?
Tenant damage, they then get charged after the fact. So we don't know usually, unless it's obvious, like say a line needed to be snaked by a plumber. Obviously we don't know beforehand what's in there. So say it comes back and there's wipes in the line or things that the tenants are specifically told not to use in their lease signing, then the charges get put on the tenant's ledger and collected as rent.
So important, I think, observation for investors, for rental owners to know is to be in contact with property management openly and have the conversation, specifically try to understand what is the root cause for the issue. I also want to talk with you about safety matters, because sometimes we might get a safety issue which is above $250. So can you explain the process regarding safety calls that revolves safety issues?
Well, safety or health hazards.
Safety or health hazards.
You know, we'll pick up the phone and call directly if we can to get an immediate response. There have been times where we have, depending on what the situation has been, if we're unable to get in touch, we've had to go out and handle it just to make sure that the tenants are okay or children are okay or whatever the case may be, because it ultimately in the long run saves, you know, the investors or us from being liable for anything like that. So ultimately, there's only on a few occasions we've had to kind of make that call.
How do you communicate this to the investor to be aware? Hey, I've got here a $750 charge. I did not see any request for approval. So how do you communicate this to the investor so he's aware there was some kind of a safety or health hazard involved in the event?
We do our best to find a Band-Aid until we are able to. So it's not going to be the actual $750 charge that we're coming to them with after the fact. Mm-hmm. We hopefully can find a Band-Aid to take care of it until we hear back, but we can't just not do anything.
Yes.
So ultimately we just do our best to try and repair for the moment, which is my Band-Aid. The Band-Aid holds us over until we get, you know, the clarification from the owner. Yeah. And in that case, that's where we're going to tell them, hey, this is health and safety, and it's not safe for the tenants to be in there, you know, and we just kind of go from there.
Okay, great.